Hello and welcome to Roll for Topic, a roundtable discussion about topics related to running role-playing games. I'm Chris Salzman.
I'm Andy Rowe.
Andy, we were just talking before this. So my kids have now had 2 snow days for the past school days, and it sounds like your kid had three,
Yes.
three last week. So we're all, I think, running a little bit on fumes at the moment. Yeah, and then I'm leaving for a work trip tomorrow. So it's just like, yeah. So anyway, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a shorter episode, just to let all you know, just because it's been busy. But I think, yeah, we still have some fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, the difference between us, Chris, is your kids are at an age where a snow day means you aren't going to be able to get any work done.
hmm
At my kid's age, it means the kid will disappear with an electronic device into their room, and I may not see them for
Yeah.
until dinner time. So
Yes, yeah. I'm close. I'm close with one of them, but otherwise, it's
yes,
yeah,
you're getting there. Just be
yeah,
patient. Yeah.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this trip. And am I imagining this, or is this a sort of work trip where some sort of game might happen?
Yes, yeah. So there's already been talk. The place that I work for has a board game channel, like board game and tabletop RPG channel. Their Slack, of course, and it was like one of the first things that I think I joined while I
Yeah,
was there. Yeah. So we're there's been a mention of like, hey, we should get together to do some sort of board game
yeah.
something, or yeah, play a game. So yeah, I think my big question for you, and like to kind of keep this on the topic of the podcast, is like how do you approach stuff like that where you're going to, like, like a friendly group of people, right? But they want to play a game, right? So like, to
Yeah.
me that says, like, we're not going to sit down and play, like, I don't know, some sort of like really heavy story game that requires a lot of trust necessarily. Like, we might not dive straight into like 10 candles or like Alice is Missing or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's still a lot of latitude there for like, hey, like, we're getting together, a bunch of us are nerds, we're playing our different games. Everybody's kind of playing their own different games with their home group. So like, what do you do when you get together? Yeah.
That's a great question. So it's situations like these that make me wish I was a little bit more like our mutual friend John Corey.
hmm
He has this style of running improv fantasy games. Like, I think
Yeah.
he would use Dungeon World or related systems to do it.
hmm
There's probably other games that can do it that are pretty much zero prep. Like,
hmm
the rules, even I don't think John needs a rule book like at the table to
No.
do this anymore. You go around and as a group, you like do a little improv exercise where you create a scenario and then you roll with it. And then the rules are just roll a couple of d6s every now and then to see what happens.
hmm
I am not John Corey yet, though. We're all working
We're
towards
all,
we're
yes.
all working towards being that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I have anything like on hand that, like, if you were like, Andy, we're leaving in 10 minutes, like, grab a game you can run, that
Mm-hmm.
I could like grab. There are some things that, like, if you gave me an hour or two, I could be ready to do something pretty,
hmm
pretty quick. And they would be like, I mean, I think most GMs probably have like a couple, most like D&D-ish DMs probably have a couple of like scenarios you've run enough times you could almost run them in your sleep.
hmm
They're just like kind of tried and true. I have a couple
Yeah.
of these tucked away.
Yeah.
So that would be where I would go. Like, print out a bunch of pre-gens real quick from the D&D website or whatever,
hmm
and just yeah, I mean, go. I would go planning to run like the lowest intensity version of the D&D rules, right? So it's
Yeah.
mostly just roll a d20 every now and then and get something high,
Yeah.
versus like, what is the spell component for that thing you want to cast, level stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I would run one of my go-to, like, I have some good scenarios I've gleaned over the years that are basically like one location that you have to explore.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um,
Do you like any offhand that you're like, oh, like, this is the one that I would just grab
Well,
immediately?
I can tell you what I grab. It's not one you're likely to heard of. There's an old one of my go-tos is an older game called The Cursed Chateau
Oh.
by, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a really well-regarded, like, old school
hmm
blogger. His name is James Malachevsky, I think might how you How do you
Okay.
pronounce his name?
Yeah.
It's called The Cursed Chateau. It's been released for like several different games and things like
Mhm.
that. But the gist of it is like you're in the forest. Here's this like weird house. How are you going to get in and what are you going to find in there? And
Mhm.
that I love starting players with a problem like your outside house, but it's locked or
Yes.
like all the windows are boarded up. What are you going to do? You
Mhm.
get amazing creativity when you just throw people stuff like that without a backstory, without a big like story
Mhm.
of why they're there or whatever. You just need to get in this house, like, but
Yeah.
now you can't. So, like,
Yeah, and you of
tell me how you're
course
gonna do
have like the door is a trap and the windows are a trap and
it.
like you're gonna
Well, I
go
mean,
for a total party kill immediately. Just yeah.
obviously. So
Yeah.
I have a couple other adventures I might grab, but that's like the one I think I have run the most number of times that I
Hmm.
could just run it in my head if I had to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
That's something I could run, without a D&D rule book. I could run that with a D20 and nothing else pretty much. So,
Yeah.
that's what I would grab. So do you have
Yeah.
anything that's close to that?
There's interesting like, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about like the intro dungeon in the starter set, the Lost Mines of Phandelver is pretty good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think
And
it's the Cragmaw Cavern.
which yeah, Cragmaw Cavern, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it stands out well. Like, so I've run that a couple of times for different people or different groups. And it like it's interesting. Like the map is strong enough that I actually had one player who like brought it up like a year later. They saw like an image of the map and like, oh hey, like that's that Cragmaw place. I was
Oh,
like, oh
yeah.
wow, like okay, yeah, that really stuck with you. Like so that one's pretty easy. I mean, I think there's like some interesting stuff you can do with that. I mean, like honestly, like if you're gonna do something that's more tactical combat, like for something like this, you could just run like a goblin ambush, like that sort of
Yeah,
that
for
sort of
sure.
setup too. Yeah, I mean the other thing, like I've been thinking too about like the actual plays we've done for like the build a dungeon, play a dungeon. Like I think some of those I have prepped enough in my head that I could just roll with them pretty
Yeah.
fast. And the thing that I like about those too, like since we've used Caltrap Core for most of those, like character creation can be pretty fast too, and also give people something
Yeah.
to kind of like grab onto. Yeah, so like there's a handful of things like that. I do also the other thing that I've been thinking about is like getting something that's a little bit more like RPG adjacent. So like the Quiet Year, something like that, or the Ground
Mhm.
itself, which we've played before. Yeah, like those are really, I think, like those are strong contenders, and like that's the sort of thing where as long as you have someone who's sort of willing to imagine a little bit, like
Yeah.
the rules are just so dead simple as far as like how you proceed that like there's no like oh like I've never played a tabletop game before like I can't possibly learn it at this board game. It's like oh no, like there are no, very few rules. Like you just have to kind of draw a card
Yeah.
and answer the
Yeah.
prompt. Yeah.
There's a game I have on my shelf that I've been meaning to break out as like I think I brought it to the last RFT con as like a if a GM gets sick and we have to whip
Hmm.
something out on the fly. It's called Zombie World, and it's one of like a bazillion kind of based on the Powered by the Apocalypse rules, but it's card based. So
Ooh.
and it's like zero prep, just you draw cards this and then you all react to what the situation that the card presents. I
Hmm.
like those, but what I often also find though is that those do you had said something that I think was important, which is that you're not going to play something that requires a lot of like trust of the other people at the table.
Hmm.
And I have found that, like the risk you run with like more improv story type games is like you do have to kind of it helps when you have a sense of like who the people are and
Yes.
like who you're with. And so like it's kind of funny that some of these games that kind of advertise themselves as like low prep, just grab it and play, they don't have a disclaimer that's like yeah like but since you won't have any of like the guardrails of like the D&D rules, this actually might be more awkward than just like this might be awkward if that makes sense. So
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a very real thing, which I mean, like that makes me sort of want to grab for like a board game instead, right? Because like I feel like
yeah,
a board game, at least like the etiquette and kind of the table kind of like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, feel and vibes and stuff is a little bit more oriented towards like, hey, we don't know each other, but we'll kind of focus on these mechanics a little bit and like we can play and then maybe get to know each other a little bit that way. Whereas like a tabletop game does feel like there's a bit more social activation energy required to get to
hmm
the point where you're like, oh, this is working. And then I
in
mean there's also just the element of like, like what if you sit down like, okay, we're gonna play D&D and like everybody's definition of what that means
yeah,
is could be
uh-huh,
very different.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like some people are gonna be like, we can't possibly play. I don't have any of my miniatures. and like other people are gonna be like, what's a miniature? It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's just
yeah.
such a variety. Yeah.
I've played in the last couple of months. I've had one or two game experiences where I just reminded that like playing an RPG does take some like kind of acquired skills,
Hmm.
because I have tossed out questions that I am very used to throwing out there and very comfortable answering stuff like in my alien game I was tossing out questions like, on the flight over you got into an argument with this other PC, what was that argument about? To me
Yeah.
that's like a no brainer. Okay, we're just building a little bit of character stuff.
Yeah.
But you ask someone that doesn't have a lot of experience and you get like, what? Like
Yeah. Like
I don't
I'm
know.
allowed to
Like
make that decision.
what do you want me to say? Like I was told we'd be playing a game, not like, like,
Yeah.
so
I didn't expect any questions here. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
well, let's see. So do you have any I know we're an RPG podcast, I guess, but
Yeah.
what are your board games that you grab like for this sort of situation?
Yeah, that's really interesting too, because I think so. Like, I'm flying, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring anything
Twilight
massive.
Imperium. All
Yes,
right. So.
yeah. I mean, I was joking, like let's just bring Gloomhaven, right? Set that up. Yeah, I mean, and the reality is, right? Everybody's coming from another country, so they're going to be pretty tired too. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like what games would work well for that. Yeah, and there isn't anything. I mean, like I'm thinking about like honestly, like some card games. Like
Yeah.
it feels a little kind of low level, but like yeah, some card games, like a game that my family plays a lot is Set. I don't know if you've played that before. It's
I
like
have not. No.
it's this pattern matching game. You will know very quickly if it's for you or not. I'm
Yeah.
terrible at it compared to my wife, who's maybe like one of the best people I've ever seen play that game. But like, yeah, you just have cards and you're just kind of making these patterns, and you're right, it's like it's a very simple game, but like it can be pretty fun if you're playing
Yeah.
with people, so there's some stuff like that I might grab. And then I mean, I'm thinking about like I don't personally ever want to play Settlers of Catan ever again in my life. Right, like,
Right, right, right.
yeah, but something like that, right, like would be kind of a good one to grab.
I hate to say this, but
Yeah.
over Christmas, my family got together and we were playing some board and card games.
Hmm.
And the one that was the biggest hit was Rebel Princess.
Oh,
And
what is
so it's just it's like a card game. It's hearts with a few extra rules.
okay.
And here's my heretical thought I had we were playing. Like, this is really fun, but like, we next time we should probably just play hearts, because like it like this
Yes, yeah,
like this is
I
fun,
know.
but like but it would maybe have been even easier if we just used, like grandma and grandpa's deck of playing cards
Yeah,
and played
yeah.
hearts instead of like, here's your token and choose your princess and this is your,
Uh-huh.
like, and I'm that's not a critique of Rebel Princess, which is
No.
actually a great game. You should pick it up. But also it was like, like humans
Yeah.
may have solved this problem like,
Yeah. Do
hundreds
you
of years ago already.
Yeah, do you find like so for me, I will say like having some sort of theme and story to a board game like helps my enjoyment quite a bit. Like do you find that that's true for you?
I do. I am a big theme person. Yes.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
matters to me if like you've released your version of Hearts, but it's like Space Marines versus
Yeah.
the whatever's like, that's
y-
important to me. I get into that. It is
Yeah.
my anecdotal experience that most people I play with do not share my need for a
Yes.
theme, and they're
Yes.
fine. Just like, I just need to get a higher card than you. It's like,
Yeah. I know.
no, but
God,
you're
God
like
bless them.
farming resources to build like
I know.
electrical power for your base.
Yes. Yeah, this is my problem. Like I think the last time I played Agricola, which
Oh
is
yeah,
like it's a super fun game. Like I love
yeah.
that game. But I mean I just had such a hard time not being like, building in some sort of story to what my farm was doing. Yeah.
Yes.
And then there was another board game that I played once that I really enjoyed, which is the whole game is essentially like making the process of making a character sheet a lot more complicated, right? So like the whole game is like, like this cool like mechanics, like you're rolling, you're like doing all this stuff to like build out this character sheet.
Yeah.
And like we got to the end of it and we're like totaling up our points. And I was just like, well, now I want to play, like I want to use this character for
Yes.
something. It felt like, yeah, all the setup for like the actual game and then nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Which
like
is which is a me problem. Yeah, yeah.
we've had that problem, and I know this, like, maybe it sounds a little insulting, but like when you play something like The Quiet Year or
Hmm.
Dialect
Yeah.
and you get to the end, I am like, all right, we have like we are ready to start playing the real
Yes,
game. Like,
yes,
and
yes, yeah.
everyone else is like, well, what a satisfying experience that
Oh,
was.
that
It's
was
like,
great.
no,
Let's
we
go.
just,
Like, yeah, do anything else? No.
yeah, we just laid the groundwork for what we're
I know.
really going to play, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, that's the GM brand right there. I guess in a nutshell.
I
Yeah,
guess so. So hey,
yeah.
Chris,
Mhm,
we both are recording on a tight timeline, so we need to
yeah,
quit in a minute here. So
yeah.
next time, I want to talk a little bit about. I did a weekend where I tried to
Yes.
squeeze a big Cthulhu campaign into a
Hmm.
couple of days over a weekend retreat. I'm excited to talk about that a little bit, some of my takeaways.
Yeah.
Anything else like really big going on that you want to call out or point ahead
No,
to?
I really want to talk with you about that. And I've got a couple ideas for how we might structure that too, because I think that's a pretty major event. And then
Good.
I will call out that you wrote, you have a Substack, which I guess we should probably start plugging a little bit
Oh
more.
yeah, that's
You have
right.
a Substack. You have a newsletter that you publish on Substack. This is important only to me to say it
Thank
in
you.
that way.
No, no,
But
no,
yes,
no.
yeah.
It's like fingernails on a chalkboard when someone's like, I
Yeah.
posted a blog.
I
Like,
know.
no, you didn't. You
Yeah.
you wrote a post on a
Yes.
blogging platform. Get it right.
I know, yeah. We're the old heads who will die die on these hills. But
That's right.
yeah, so you have you wrote up a post sort of like about like, like why it's important to do those sorts of things. So I think I want
Yeah.
to dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so
bet.
this is just a teaser for next time. We'll dive into that a little bit more, and then I want to have some specific questions for you about like how did it go? Like how can other people kind of do this sort of thing? Should they do this sort of thing? That sort of stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds great. So
cool.
in the meantime, so thanks for
Hmm.
bearing with us as we did kind of a short, quick one.
Hmm.
If you have like a go-to game that you pack in your
Yeah.
suitcase when you go on a work trip, we'd actually love it if you
Yes.
wrote us and told us about it.
Yeah.
So drop us a note, hopefully before Chris leaves for his work trip.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you
so
got 20 hours. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Cool.
So
All right.
hey, Chris, it's been good to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. All right. Yeah, last thing, yeah, go check out Andy and John on Zombie Strains. That is always a treat. But that does it for us. I've been Chris Salzman.
I've been Andy Rao.
Remember, if your players are having fun, you're a great GM.